in the presentation of our self-assessment tool to assist rural destinations. It's a very innovative tool that we, UN Tourism, have developed to help rural destinations worldwide. And today I'm here with Zorica Urošević, our Executive Director, and with Sandra Carbao, Director of Market Intelligence, Policies and Competitiveness. Let's go for a second to the agenda, so we will see what we're going to do in this event. Let me share a screen. Okay. Today we're going to see all these things. We will count on Zorica Urošević. I already said for the opening remarks. Then Sandra Carbao will tell us about STAR and why tourism is a driver for rural development and territorial cohesion. And then Juan Carlos Izurieta, my colleague, senior project specialist, and myself, we will introduce you STAR, the self-assessment tool to assist rural destinations from the more global point of view to the very specific way on how it works. Then we will count on two representatives of our Best Tourism Village Network, Abd Sani Nasri from Malaysia and Kamala Kiaru Felix from Uganda. And they have already checked the self-assessment tool, and they're going to share with us their first impressions. And then we will finish at 11 with the closing remarks of Sandra Carbao. If you let me, please, I would like to, one very operative thing. You will have the chance to make questions or to make comments through the Q&A function. So during the panel with the villages, Juan Carlos will manage this. So if you have any question or you would like to share any comment, please write in Q&A, question and answers, part of the platform, so we can check them and we can answer. In any case, we will give you an email, which is rural@unwto.org. It is the email of our department. So if you have any question after this event about the tool, please just feel free, send us a message, an email, and we will answer very rapidly. So now I would like to give the floor to our Executive Director, Zorica Urošević. Please, Zorica, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Antonio and Sandra, for creating this amazing tool. And let me welcome you, distinguished guests, colleagues, and partners. I am delighted to welcome you to the official launch of STAR, and what a beautiful name, the self-assessment tool to assist rural destinations. Rural communities are home to some of the world's most vulnerable populations. An estimated 83% of people living in poverty reside in rural areas in the world. Rural communities are also less likely to enjoy the social or economic opportunities of those living in cities. At the same time, rural areas boost a major share of the world's invaluable cultural and natural heritage, creating important opportunities for tourism, not to mention that rural areas are feeding the world. 4 years ago, UN Tourism designated 2020 as the year of tourism and rural development, coinciding with COVID. Soon after, and with the vision of making tourism a positive force for transformation, sustainable development, and community well-being in rural areas, UN Tourism launched the Tourism for Rural Development Program. The program focuses its work on advancing the role of tourism in rural areas, prioritizing innovative and transformative approaches in line with the Sustainable Development Goals framework. Today, we gather to share an achievement that embodies the spirit of sustainability and innovation in rural tourism development. We present for the first time a cutting-edge, unique online tool specifically created to craft local public authority in rural area capacities. Dear friends, we are living in a time where innovation unfolds at an unprecedented pace. Local authorities in rural areas play a crucial role in harvesting the opportunities of this innovation to steer their regions towards sustainability and inclusion. To support local authorities, we have designed the self-assessment tool to assist rural area and destinations, STAR. STAR will allow rural destinations to know where they are in their tourism development, their strengths and weaknesses, and provide tailored recommendations to promote well-informed actions and new policies. This is a transformative tool designed to help and guide the sustainable advancement of rural tourism destinations worldwide. And tourism can drive sustainable development in rural areas by increasing the vitality, mitigating demographic challenges, reducing migration, and promoting a range of local resources and tradition while upholding the essence of rural life. STAR will help local authorities in rural areas and our member states enhance tourism capacity to promote sustainable rural development. I thank you for joining us on this exciting journey, and together, I am sure that we can build a future where tourism becomes a beacon of prosperity for every rural destination, fostering a world where rural communities thrive and rural heritage is preserved and promoted.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saritza, for your inspiring words and for letting us know how important are rural destinations for the world and for all of us. Now I give the floor to Sandra Carvalho, Director of Market Intelligence, Policies and Competitiveness, Director of this program, and the one who has been supporting and leading us in this STAR development. Please, Sandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Antonio. Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Saritza. Thank you for joining us. I want to welcome all the participants who join us from the different parts of the world and tell you how happy we're to have you, because I would say the success of this tool will depend on your engagement. As Antonio will explain later, this is really something that only makes sense if it's used by the end destinataries. And it's something that we all need to share because it will allow us to create a lot of common knowledge. So before Antonio and the team, which I want to congratulate, first of all, for the great work, Antonio and Juan Carlos, that was done on this tool. I want to take you through why we're doing this. And Saritza touched already some of the points. We know rural areas are facing challenges of depopulation. We know that more than 80% of the people living in poverty are located in rural areas, that there are immense gaps in access to education, to infrastructure, to technology. And this is why we created this program, as it was highlighted by Saritza. And some of you will be familiar with other initiatives that we have in the program, including the Best Tourism Villages, which was launched already in 2021. But the program is much more than that. The program works to create knowledge, and we've been doing research. The program also works to support directly the governance and the capacity of local authorities. And this is where STAR comes. The program has 12 objectives, and we do believe that creating capacity to better plan and better manage tourism at the local level will be critical for us to attain those objectives. We will only be able to actually make tourism promoting rural transformation and attracting investment, for example, if we have the adequate policies for land use, if we have the adequate policies for the promotion of adequate products, promotion, skills development. So all our objectives in the program will be supported by this very innovative tool, as Antonio will explain. So how do we think that actually tourism can help rural development and territorial cohesion? And this is an important point, because as tourism develops and we see that the recovery has been very, very strong, there is a challenge to make sure that the benefits of the sector really reach the different parts of the territory of a country. Tourism will then help to make sure that we address the inequalities that we just mentioned. So we have a first benefit. Obviously, tourism contributes to economic diversification. It allows rural areas to increase their income and complement often the income that is generated by agriculture and other activities, but also it should allow for benefits sharing among the community. If we have small businesses being developed, if we have entrepreneurs in other areas integrating the tourism value chain, more and more linkages can be created and the benefits can be shared. And this is one of the points that you will see that STAR touches upon. The second benefit is naturally community empowerment, and the development of income is one pillar, but the other is how can we engage in the economic activity traditionally disadvantaged groups, and we know that often women, youth, and indigenous peoples are actually at the forefront of development in rural areas. But also it is very important, and one of the key elements for us is that local communities are not only consulted, but they are part of the planning and decision-making process. So all of this, as the territory develops, should stimulate investment in infrastructure, but also in service that actually improves the lives of people living in rural areas. We also have the capacity that tourism has to create resources and incentives for conservation. And this is a very important point. Also another area touched upon by STAR, as you will see, because at the end of the day, we know how challenging it is sometimes to preserve rural landscapes, biodiversity, but also traditional knowledge and also practices. So tourism can help and should help to preserve them, but for that, it has to be well managed. So all of this is something that you can find in our research. UN Tourism for Rural Development Program has been more and more trying to understand what are the challenges on the ground. And we have analyzed more than 200 villages on their challenges and opportunities. And this has guided also our development of STAR. Also from our member states, we have developed a survey to understand their priorities. So all this knowledge comes together in this new tool that we are sure that you will find the views, and hopefully that you will be a frequent and very committed user. So how does STAR aims to help destinations? First, we want to create capacity for local authorities. We want local authorities to feel empowered and to feel better prepared to manage, but also at the same time that they can benchmark each other. They can see in their region where they are, they can see in the world where they are. Naturally, this will allow us also to collect a lot of information and insights to further guide our work in tourism and rural development, but those insights will also be shared with our member states, so they can have those insights at the national level and at the regional level, and also guide their policy. We want to make sure that we promote a better governance level in the local areas. And at the end of the day, we do believe that without knowledge, it's important to be sure that we are on the right path. Action and territorial cohesion will only be really achieved if we know where we're heading. So this is the reason why we built STAR. We do know that rural destinations face unique challenges, as we mentioned, but there's also immense opportunities to make tourism a driver of development in these regions. And UN Tourism is here to support member states and communities to promote knowledge and tools. This is very important. We want these tools to be practical and to be used and to be valued by communities. So with that said, I won't take more of your time because the most important thing is to really develop the tool. And with that, Antonio, I pass back the floor to you. And we're very eager to initiate the journey through STAR. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sandra, for your words, for your knowledge, and for your experience. It's very important because you were the first one in launching this program. And we have been working with you so well, and you are so inspiring. You let us know and you let us do so, which is the most important thing. Thank you so much. And now I would like to share my screen so I can start talking about STAR, about the self-assessment tool to assist rural destinations, which is the most important thing today. And let me see if it's working. Yes. So as Sandra said, the most important thing when we thought about creating this kind of tool and put it in the hands of rural destinations is to empower them. And how we can empower them? We can empower them through knowledge. So this tool, it gives this knowledge to the rural destinations so they know exactly where they are, how close or how far they are from the ideal rural tourism destination. And ideal in a way that has to be sustainable, has to be inclusive, has to be smart. The way that we want them to give them a tool that can lead them through this path, because sometimes it's not easy, and we know. So with this tool, which is innovative and it's transformative, because it helps you to think about what specific actions you need to do to become a sustainable, inclusive, and smart destination. And why people are doing the self-assessment, and our guest will tell us later on. While you're doing it, you're learning. We wanted you to start the learning process while you are doing the self-assessment. So it's very intuitive, it's very easy to do, but at the same time, you're learning while you're doing, and at the end, you get this information. You get information to evaluate, compare, and improve your resources, your policies, your practices, how you're doing things, and how you can do better. And not only the local authorities, but also the countries, our member states, they can use STAR to have a more accurate picture, a more real picture of what's going on there, what they have to do to develop tourism in a right way in their rural areas, and to implement the right policies and the right tools to help local authorities to develop tourism in the right way. As you see here in the picture, I love this picture because it's very, very close to what we feel with this tool. Maybe you see now the picture like very blurry, but with STAR, you will see it like clear as that. So it's the most important thing. You can use this tool to learn how to do things in a better way. Through the tool, you will check 5 different axes. Juan Carlos will explain this more in depth later. Through these 5 axes, you will have a clear picture about your tourism development through tourism infrastructure, tourism activities and development, the specific activity, through sustainability, through economic, social, cultural, and economic sustainability. I mean, 5 different axes with number of questions in an axis. So you will get a lot of information while you're doing it, and you will get a tailored recommendation guide at the end, 1 per each axis and 1 general one. So you have kind of idea of how close or how far you are from this ideal tourism, sustainable tourism development, and you have a clear idea of which are the next steps. What did you have to do? Which is your path to go ahead and to develop specific actions to become a sustainable rural destination? And also, the tool allows member states and destinations to establish action points to develop tourism strategies. This is something that we really like, because before, in 2022, 2023, we developed a survey among our member states to know what were they doing in regarding tourism development through tourism development in rural areas. And then we realized that we also have to help them to understand what's going on in their rural areas, rural destinations. And this tool will allow them to know exactly what are the needs, what's the situation of the rural areas, specific locality, bigger territory, a region, or the whole country. And they can do these comparisons and benchmarks so they can develop specific tools and specific policies for specific regions in a more accurate way, very, very attached to the reality of every single region, every single territory in their countries. Who can use STAR? This tool is open to all tourism destinations in rural areas in UN tourism member states. It's just for tourism member states, for UN tourism member states, and to all the rural areas in these countries. We focus on local governments, representative GMOs, and other authorities and our destination managers. But said that, we have to stress that this is a tool that we put for we give to local authorities, but also the member states has something to say, because we are a governmental organization, and we have to work with the national tourism authorities. So when and Juan Carlos will explain this later in depth, the national tourism authorities will validate the information and will validate the accounts. So we have to coordinate with them who is authorized to enter and to develop this tool, or who cannot do it. So that's something that we have to work with you, and we will have to work with the national authorities too. Now this is the first screen shot that you can see of our tool, STAR. We welcome all rural destinations. We welcome all of you in UN tourism member states to join the tool. As we are starting now, we welcome your feedback during the first few months. Any comment, any feedback from you will be really appreciated, because we need to learn what has been done in the right way, and if something that is not right or we can improve, we really are open to do it. And of course, we will create working groups with member states. We will plan sessions with them, with the national authorities, to strengthen recommendations and to make the most of the tool for every single country. For instance, we already have Peru interested in having a kind of first test in the national wide, so we can try the tool in the country, and we can have, or they will have, accurate data of their every single local destination, rural destination in the country. And now I will give the floor to Juan Carlos. We will see a video of the tool, so you can have a first approach of it, and then Juan Carlos, we will go on with more in-depth, more technical explanation of the tool. So you're more than welcome to use the tool from now on. And please, Juan Carlos, if we can see the video, let's share it with all our attendees. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Antonio. And thank you very much to everyone that is watching this launch of the self-assessment. What you're going to see now is just a brief video that explains all the key features of the tool and the ins and outs that we're going to also share with you after the video. Is a very short production that we want to share with you.
STAR, the self-assessment tool to assist rural destinations developed by UN Tourism, is an online resource specifically designed for public authorities and local decision-makers in rural areas. STAR assists stakeholders in rural destinations in evaluating and benchmarking their strategies, policies, and interventions. More importantly, STAR provides tailored recommendations guides that align with and leverage the knowledge available within UN Tourism and other UN agencies, enhancing their capacity to implement effective and sustainable tourism practices. The self-assessment tool has 5 axes: governance, social, economic, and cultural sustainability, environmental sustainability, tourism development, and infrastructure. Each axis contains between 20 to 30 multiple choice questions. The questions are shown dynamically depending on each destination's answers. Users can take the modules separately, and the responses can be saved for continue later. After completing all the questions in one axis, a summary of the results and the recommendations guide are created. The guide compiles all the answers with personalized recommendations for the destination. The recommendations link to further learning resources in UN Tourism and other UN agencies. STAR is now available in Spanish and English. It can be accessed from desktop or mobile devices, and it is open to all rural destinations in UN Tourism member states. Start using STAR to benchmark your destination's policies and interventions, to receive a tailored guide to become more sustainable, and to help building an invaluable knowledge to improve rural tourism.
Thank you very much for this. And now let me share with you some of the key features of the tool. So how does STAR work? STAR is a tool that it's built around UN tourism resources, publications, and general knowledge. We have taken different resources to build this knowledge base, including our resources and publications from other United Nations agencies, other specialized institutions, academia, and also inputs from global and local experts. We also, and this is one of the key inputs for information, we have taken a series of local good practices from examples from villages in our best tourism villages network. All this information has been gathered into this knowledge base. And from this knowledge, we have created specific questionnaires. We have designed questions that we consider are the best predictors to assess the current situation of a rural destination. Once the users the rural destinations respond to the questions in these specific questionnaires, inside the tool, the algorithm takes these responses and calculates the most relevant recommendations based on the status of the destination and taking information from the knowledge base. Once the algorithm is done, the tool generates recommendation guides. Inside these recommendation guides, you're going to find further resources to UN Tourism and other agencies from the United Nations systems, including publications, courses, videos, and other kind of resources that are going to give inspiration to rural destinations to enhance their interventions for tourism as a driver for rural development. STAR has 5 axes. The first one is tourism governance. The questionnaires that we are going to that you are going to see inside this axis cover several components or elements, but the key evaluation elements, for example, in the tourism governance area, are related to the planning, the management, and the coordination of the local actors for the development of sustainable tourism in the destination. We're going to have questions about the current legal framework, tourism prioritization, how the destination is managing the public and private cooperation, and how much is the local community involved in the development and the planning of the tourism activity in the destination. The second axis is tourism development. The axis is going to measure how destinations are managing the tourism development. Is it aiming for a sustainable and inclusive and resilient model? The key evaluation elements here are the tourism strategy and product, the tourism management systems that are in place in the destinations, how tourism is being promoted, how the visitor experience is being managed, and most importantly, how the benefits generated by tourism are being distributed within the local population. The environmental sustainability axis aims to measure the preservation, management, and promotion of the destination's natural resources. The key evaluation elements inside this axis include the conservation of the natural resources and the biodiversity, the management of the natural resources in the destinations, and the management of the waste disposals and the development of circular economy systems. Inside the economic, social, and cultural sustainability axis, the tool focuses in measuring how the destination is managing the opportunities and advancements that are linked to tourism, but that are promoting social well-being. And these include also the management and preservation and promotion of the cultural and historical resources in the village. Some key evaluation elements include the preservation and promotion of the customs, traditions, and heritage in destinations, how the destination is managing the vulnerable groups and their connection with tourism development, how some phenomena that are occurring in rural areas, for example, depopulation or other phenomena are being addressed, what's the role of education in the development of rural tourism, and how the economic opportunities are being taken advantage of and how are seized and enhanced in the destination. Finally, the fifth axis is going to measure infrastructure management. The key evaluation elements that are going to be considered in this axis include the accessibility and mobility of residents and visitors in the destination. There are particular highlights into the accessibility for people with disabilities or reduced mobility. This is very important. The digital connectivity of rural destinations. We know this is a challenge in rural areas, but there are some inspiring recommendations in policies, in actions, in public-private partnerships that could guide how to overcome these challenges. And also the infrastructure of tourists services is considered under this axis. So how to access the tool and how to use it. Antonio just shared, we have the landing page is located here, start.untourism.int. The moment that you enter to the landing page, you're going to find this. 1 second, please. I think I have a problem with my. Okay. The moment that you. Sorry. Now we can see it very well. I am having trouble with my. Okay. So the moment that you go to start.untourism.int, you're going to find the landing page. The first time you need to create an account. For doing this, you need to click on the sign up link that appears on the left panel. Once you click on it, a registration form is going to be shown. You need to provide all the details. Remember that STAR is open to public authorities in rural destinations. So this information that you enter into the registration form might be shared with national tourism authorities for posterior validation. The moment that you create the account, and this is a very important step, an email validation message is going to be sent to your email account. You need to validate this email in order to the system to send this information to us and to start the screening of the data of the destination. The moment when you click the validation email button that is going to look something like the image on the screen, you are going to receive a validation and access email, a second email with your credentials. And these credentials are going to be, the username is going to be the username that you are going to be using for accessing the tool. And the password is a temporary password that you can use for the first time, and then you can update to your own password at any given moment. Once you have entered the tool for the first time, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see all the access on your landing page. And in the access, it's very straightforward. You go directly and start responding to the questions. You can complete every access on its own. And the questions are very straightforward. Most of them are just, you just need to pick the answer. Nevertheless, you can save your responses and continue later. And we have done this like this because some of the questions require to gather some information. The most accurate responses that you give, the most accurate the recommendations are from the tool. So you can start browsing all the, if you see on the left pane of video that is shown, you have the list of all the questions that are part of the axis. You can go through all of them, answering the ones that you have information, and then you can save and continue later for giving the most accurate responses. Once you have finalized all the questions on each axis, you can have access to the recommendations guide. To do so, you just as you see, you have a hand. When you complete all the responses, you're going to have 100% indicator in the axis, and you can click on the summary button or in the recommendations button, and a PDF is going to be generated as the one that you're looking in the screen. And in this document, you're going to have all the recommendations that tailor-made for your destination according to your responses. And inside the recommendations, you're going to have access or links to further resources within UN Tourism or other UN agencies or relevant knowledge databases. So STAR is open now. We welcome all rural destinations in UN Tourism member states to join and to register. The link is here, and you can use the QR code to access the tool. So right now, I would like to give some of the key elements. We have run the test of this tool with 2 villages, a part of the best tourism villages network. They have joined the beta test of the tool, and now we are going to give the floor to them. Let me rapidly introduce our panelists. So the first panelist is Kamala Felix from Ruboni Village in Uganda. This village is part of our Best Tourism Villages Upgrade Program. Let me introduce Felix super quick. Felix, 25 years ago, founded the Ruboni Community Conservation and Development Program in Ruboni Village. His work focuses on sustainable development and conservation through tourism. And he also provides support to the membership of Uganda Community Tourism Association. And he's working in various areas of sustainable tourism development in more than 10 national parks. So I would like to give a warm welcome to Felix to the stage. Hello, Felix, how are you?
Hello, John. I'm fine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Felix, to start this panel, would you please give a brief introduction of Ruboni Village, so all the people that are joining this webinar know a little bit more about the village?
Thank you very much. Ruboni Village is from the Village Upgrade Program of 2021 and is located in the Rwenzori Mountains foothills. Our activities, we mainly showcase the Bakonzo culture and the Bakonzo way of life in the Rwenzori Mountains landscape. In this, we offer village walks, forest walks, cultural dances, cooking experiences, and we also offer trekking to the Rwenzori Mountains, especially the Margarita Peak at the height of 5,109 meters with snow at the equator. In the village, we also offer forest conservation, landscape restoration, and other cultural conservation activities as a basis for our culture. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Felix. I am also going to give a warm welcome to our second panelist today, Sani Nasri from Batu Puteh in Malaysia. Batu Puteh is a best tourism village recognized in 2021. Sani is the chairman of Kopel Bahar, an award-winning community-based ecotourism cooperative located in Batu Puteh in Malaysia. Under his leadership, Kopel has continued to excel in providing visitors with an authentic experience of the village's rich biodiversity, environmental initiatives, and cultural heritage of the rural life. His contributions consistently highlight the importance of cooperative development, social entrepreneurship, asset management, and most importantly, environmental and SDG causes to save our planet. So I don't know, Sunny, are you connected? Because I think I cannot see you. Sunny, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, perfect. Sunny, how are you? And
Yeah.
welcome.
I'm fine. It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Sunny, please, could you please give all our viewers a brief introduction of Batu Putih and which tourism projects are undergoing in the village?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to join this webinar. It's very useful and helpful. Okay, my name is Abdul Sani bin Haji Nasri. So I would like to share you a little bit about my village. My village, Kampung Batu Putih, is located in the Kinabatangan, Sabah, Malaysia. The tourism business in the area is managed by Kopel Berhad, of which I have been the chairman since 2017. Kopel is a community-based ecotourism. Its investors, employers, and most of the volunteers are collective of villagers from Batu Putih. So the destination offers visitors of opportunity to experience the rich biodiversity, environmental initiative, and cultural heritage of the local rural life of the orangutan, river people in the lower Kinabatangan river area. So the main ecotourism under Kopel are the tourisms such as Misok Walai Homestay, Tungok Rainforest Eco Camp, Super Adventure Camp, Sunset Wildlife, River Cruise, wildlife spotting excursion, a Smiling Board Riverside Cafe. And the conservation or restoration is about conservation, the tree plantings, environmental education program, and cave conservation and restorations, and other services such as Kopel Training Hub, tour guide services, food and beverage service, F&B, and transportation and boat services. So that is a little bit about Kampung Batu Putih.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Sunny and Felix. Coming back to Roboni. Well, both villages were part. Actually, several villages part of the Best Tourism Villages network were part of the beta test of a STAR. The idea of the beta test was to try the tool in real conditions in rural destinations. So we're super glad that we have both Sunny and Felix today sharing their experience. And Felix, I would like to ask particularly you, what do you think is the impact that the STAR, after using it in this beta test, is having in the decision-making processes, or would have or will have in the decision-making processes in Ruboni Village?
Thank you, Joan. It is obvious that the STAR tool will have a very big impact in the Ruboni Tourism Village. There are many aspects why I can see it working very well. For example, it will provide valuable data that will lead informed decisions when we are planning our development. Then also it will help us to foster the culture of continuous improvement as we assess ourselves using the tool. I also think the stakeholders will find clear indicators for the need to intervene and or to participate, because the tool will be showing exactly what is lacking and what is being achieved. Then the data will also be used for reference during planning. The planners will use the data that will come from the tool to plan the next actions of the village. I also think that it will enhance the mindset change for sustainability constituency building, as in to increase the number of people supporting sustainability in the village. And a detailed analysis will increase stakeholder trust, confidence, and accountability. With these few, there are many others, but for the interest of time, I think that is what I can say for now. Thank you very much, Juan.
Thank you very much for that response, Felix. Indeed, one of the key ideas behind the tool, the self-assessment tool, is to inspire decisions. And something that I forgot to mention is that the recommendations that the tool gives are constantly being updated by us. And also the idea, as Antonio mentioned, is to open the working sessions with member states so we can gather national level or regional level recommendations and guidelines and include these into the set of recommendations for rural destinations. That way, the tool can be a bridge between the available knowledge and the practices on the ground. I would like to hear a little bit more from you, Sani, and from Batu Putih experience, also about the impact that you consider a startup could have in the decision-making processes for you in your village. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
So the STAR tools has some potential to positively impact the decision-making process in our village in several ways. As the apps, for example, one of it, number one is to provide data-driven insight. Okay, for example, by providing a structured self-assessment framework, the STAR tools will enable our village leader to make decisions based on our comprehensive data about our tourism, resources, policies, and practice. This ensures that decisions are informed by accurate, relevant information, leading to more effective outcomes. Okay, number two is identify strengths and weakness. For example, the tools will help us identify our village strengths and areas needing improvement. Understanding this aspect will allow us to focus our effort on enhancing what we are already good at and our niche areas such as authentic homestay experience and conservation effort, while also addressing our weakness, for example, branding, marketing, utilizing technology such as CRM and AI. I believe this can be achieved through targeted intervention and strategies. And then the rest is focuses on sustainability. For example, from the STAR apps, I can see that it is aligning with the Sustainable Development Goal, SDGs, promoting sustainable tourism development. Focus on sustainability will help ensure that our tourism initiatives are economically viable, environmentally friendly, and socially inclusive, benefiting the entire community in the long term. And the last part is enable benchmarking and progress tracking. For example, the STAR app may allow the ability to compare our village performance with the global and local reference. In turns, this will provide a benchmarking for measuring progress. This continuous monitoring will help us track improvement over time and make necessary adjustment to stay on course. So that is my point of view about the apps.
Thank you very much, Sani. That's very insightful. And one thing that you mentioned, it's quite interesting. Yes, the idea also behind of the tool is to link to United Nations ecosystem knowledge. So yes, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are featured in several sections and resources related to the goals, and particularly on how tourism can be a tool to achieve the goals and to work towards the goals, are featured inside the recommendations of the tool. Again, all this knowledge is dynamic, is growing by the day. I'm talking about recommendations and how they can enhance the tourism contribution for rural development. I would like to go back to you, Felix, and ask about how in Rovaniemi Village and from your experience, once you generated the report, the recommendations report from the tool, what are your impressions about these instructions and these recommendations, these guidelines? Are they useful? What do you think about the recommendations that the tool is generating for Rovaniemi Village?
The tool is generating very useful recommendations, and I think these recommendations will help in the development of Rovaniemi Village specifically. in a number of ways. The first one is, I think, the recommendations help us to get a quality data that we wouldn't really afford without this tool, because it gives us very good consultancy. So this data will be used to plan our developments. Then it can also be used, the recommendation will be used as a training tool to reach out to more people who are involved in tourism or those other stakeholders, to provide proof as we train them that they should get involved in sustainability. Then the results also will be able to inspire development plans and choices. We will choose what we focus on for development, especially when we are supporting or when we are looking for partnerships. We will use the results to inspire this kind of decision so that we can be guided by the standard sustainability requirements. Then allocation of resources on shared goals will also lead to increased joint development by different partners. Resource sharing, collaboration between stakeholders in the village, such as between hotels and recycling youth initiatives, will also be inspired by this tool. So it will help to inspire those kind of partnerships. Then we shall also be able to optimize utilization of the resources and put them in the most crucial areas where they should go at the particular time. Then in terms of supporting the development, I also think that it will build a holistic and equitable distribution of tourism benefits across different stakeholders based on the score of the tool. So we'll be able to know where to allocate these resources. And it will help on setting appropriate benchmarks and performance indicators based on set sustainability standards. That's what I see. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felix, for those ideas on the recommendations. Going back to you, Sani, would you like to share some of your impressions on this recommendations guide that was generated for Batu Putih? And this is something that it's interesting about the tool also, that every destination is going to have a different recommendations report. And this is because every destination is different. Every destination has different features, but also they are going to respond differently to every single question in the tool. And also it is relevant to say that the recommendations report are going to change through time, both because villages or destinations, they can access the tool and update the responses to have a newer version of the responses, and therefore a newer version of the recommendations. But also from our side, we are constantly updating, or we will be constantly updating the recommendations. And again, this is the idea of the recommendation is not to give any kind of indications or recognitions. No, it's just an informative tool. It's just an informative tool to inspire decision-making processes for rural tourism destinations. So Sani, going back to you, would you please share your impressions on the recommendations guide generated by STAR?
Yes, the recommendation generated by the STAR tools can be beneficial in enhancing the contribution of tourism towards rural developments in our village. Here's how the STAR apps can help. Okay, number one is provided targeted improvement. Okay, adopts best practice. For example, the recommendation generated based on our answer from the 5 access indicator section, which are tourism governance, economic, social, culture, sustainability, environmental, sustainability, tourism, tourism development, infrastructure management indicator, all point to how to improve our destination. And implementing best practice, I believe this was based on other rural destination and UN tourism guidelines. I can see that the recommendation also give a general idea of successful strategies. This can help us avoid common problem and adopt proven methods, facilitating our progress in developing sustainable tourism, facilitate strategic planning, support capacity building, improve resource allocation, and focuses on sustainability, encourage community engagement. Okay, for example, the recommendation can encourage greater community involvement in tourism activities, highlight the benefit of inclusive tourism can help mobilize community support and participation benefiting all residents. In Batu Putih's case, we would like to increase the involvement of all members in our society, such as females, elderly, and youth participation in various aspects, from being cooperative members to joining volunteering in ecotourism activities to decision making. So that is from a point of view about the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Sani. And we are actually 3 minutes away of the estimated time of this webinar, of this launch of the tool. So please, I would invite you both, Felix and then Sani, to give just a final thought, a final message about your experience using the self-assessment tool in your villages. So Felix, please, would you share your final thoughts with us?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. I saw it is a very rich and detailed tool, and I think communities or villages should definitely use it. But I also have a feeling that if villages are to use this tool, they must have on-site hard copy or desk tools that they use to collect this data. Because when you go there, you realize that you need a lot of information, and if you did not capture it, then you will have nothing to put there, and you may be biased. That is my view. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felix. Sani, would you share your final thoughts about your experience with STAR?
Okay, the data-driven insights, the STAR tool provides comprehensive data that can help you understand your village, tourism strengths, and area of improvement. So this informed approach ensures that decisions are based on solid evidence rather than guesswork. So the tailored recommendation is village receive personalized recommendation that focus on priority areas, making it easier to implement effective targeted strategy. This recommendation align with global best practice and sustainable goal, ensuring long-term benefit. And the last is about the sustainable development. The tools emphasize sustainable tourism promoting practice that balance economic growth, environmental protection, and social well-being. This holistic approach ensures that tourism development benefit the entire community. So that is from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sani. Again, big thank you to you both, to Felix and to Sani, for sharing with us, first for being part of the beta tests of the tool, and then for sharing with us all this valuable information. For sure, this first pilot, this first moment of the tool still has some enhancements to being incorporated, but the tool is ready to use for rural destinations in all UN tourism member states. So we are about to close this session for now. We invite all our rural destinations in UN tourism member states to create their accounts and to start filling the questionnaires and to receive the recommendations from the tool. I am going to, in this last minute, I am going to answer some of the questions. There are a ton of questions. Please, if you could, I'm going to leave, one of my colleagues is going to leave our email address in the chat, so you can write to us in case some relevant information is not answered in this webinar or in the STAR webpage. You can contact us for further information. But in general terms, one of the questions was if this tool is free to use. Of course, this tool is open to all rural destinations in UN tourism member states. Another important indication is that the STAR, the self-assessment tool, does not give any endorsement or indication about any of the processes or recognitions that UN Tourism is given. This is just an informative and orientative tool of UN Tourism. So all the information that is given it has that purpose. The purpose of the tool and the recommendations is to give a recommendations guide, to give guidelines on how to improve strategies for sustainable tourism development in rural areas. And finally, there's another question on how to access the STAR. You just can go to the link that is shown on the screen, star.untourism.int, or also you can search in UN Tourism webpage. Is going to be featured in the webpage, so you can just access. And also, I invite you all to follow us in all our social media. Where we are going to constantly be updating on the advancements that we're having with the tool. So this has been everything. I'm going to thank you again very much to Sani and to Felix for joining to this event, and also to all my colleagues that have shared their thoughts about the tool. So thank you everyone for joining, and hope to see you using the tool. Thank you very much, and have a great day and great evening.
Thank you for
very much,
inviting me.
Juan Carlos. Thank you, Sani. Thank you,
Yeah,
Felix.
thank you, Antonio.
And I will give the floor again to Sandra for her closing remarks. Please, Sandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Antonio. And also our colleagues from Malaysia and from Rwanda for sharing their experience hands-on, because this is really the objective of STAR. I also want to just reinforce what Juan Carlos mentioned in some of the questions, and thank you so much. We have more than 100 participants with us this morning or this afternoon, depending where you are. I think it's important just to highlight that our member states will only be asked to validate information when we have a doubt about the character of the entity. We want to make sure that also to ensure that the information that is gathered is valid, that the other side filling the information is really the entity responsible for the destination, either a municipality, a DMO, and ideally it should be one representative per destination, because obviously if we have 3 or 4 people evaluating the same, then also the insights will not be correct. Also, the colleagues have shared the link to the tool in the Q&A. So for those who did not follow it in the presentation, you have it there, but also follow us in our social media. You will see the link there, and also in our website at the UN Tourism website in our rural tourism area. The link will be there available for all those who want to register and explore more. And also I want to reinforce what Juan Carlos said in terms of the connection with the best tourism villages. This is not a pre-assessment for our best tourism villages process. It's a self-assessment for yourself to go and step by step learn from the process, and maybe also as you go along. And we've heard from some of the people who did it in the beta testing, some of the things that you never thought, they come to your mind and said, oh, you know, I should have done this, or this is important for me to have. And this will give you some recommendations and will allow you to see where you are. But again, this is a self-assessment tool, so it's yourself or your own entity evaluating itself, and not exactly the same process. With that said, I want to thank all the team, Antonio, Juan Carlos, Melita, and also Dalia, who's not here, probably in the backstage, for making the launch possible. And also just reinforce that this is the early testing. We're going live today. So anything that you find, any comments, feel free to reach out to us. It's very important to hear from you. And also the presentations will definitely be available for all the participants in our website. The tool will only be as successful as the number of people and the quality of the information that will be inputted. So we do count on you to make this yours. If you're a rural destination, this will allow you to have a roadmap for yourself. If you're a member state, this will allow you to have information on your country, but also on your region. So we do encourage you as well. As Antonio said in the beginning, we will do specific sessions by language with the member states to explain further how this engagement will take place. But we do invite you to disseminate the tool to your own destination so that there's a critical mass that allows us to build that knowledge together. So with that said, and because we're 5 minutes past 11, I want to thank everyone for being here today. And I want to invite you to explore STAR and discover more about your own rural destination. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
Have a nice
Bye.
day.
Thank you for inviting me.